This is the die casting section. Here we use steel dies to create parts for our customers. We do this by pouring liquid aluminium into the hollow shape of the steel die. Aluminium is an excellent material in the production of parts for cars and aeroplanes because it's a very light material. One half of the final component is machined out of the steel by the toolmaker. The other half is then made in the exact same way. In the foundry, the two halves are clamped together, leaving a hollow hole in the middle that the molten metal is poured into. We can use die casting to make many thousands of different parts. To stop the metal casting from sticking to the steel die, we have to use a coating to protect the die. This is because we want to use it many hundreds of times to create lots of different parts for our customers. So our dies are very valuable and we do our utmost to take good care of them. We also have metallurgists who check a couple of important things with our metals, namely that the chemistry is correct and they are at the right temperature. Welcome to the machining section of the factory. Here we machine the components to add any extra features that the customer may want. This may be to prepare the surface to make it extra smooth in preparation for painting or coating, or it could be drilling holes in preparation for being connected to another component, perhaps making the structure of an electric car. Now, these machines are expensive and we have technicians telling them exactly how to machine the parts. This is called coding. These machines can run all day without a break, but they need to be maintained to be kept in good working order. This is the moulding and core making section. Here we make the hollow shapes in sand that the hot metal will be poured into to create the final metal casting. We use cores, which are made of sand, to create any hollow areas needed in the final design. That way, when the hot metal fills inside the mould, it goes around the sand core to create the final product which our customer needs. The hot metal is poured through a small hole we make at the top of the mould. We melt the metal in our furnaces and then the casters pour it into the mould. Of course, they wear protective clothing to make sure that they are safe. Once the metal is cooled and solidified, we separate the metal casting that we want from the sand. We can use this sand over and over again, so we recycle it here in our foundry. But of course, we have to make sure it is of the right quality and consistency, so our technicians look after it and carry out lots of tests. We need to check that the parts we have cast in our foundry are the right shape and the right size, and now we can actually use technology to help us do this. This Faro arm scans the part and compares it with the original CAD design, and that way, through the comparison, we can tell that the dimensions are just right. We hope they are, because otherwise we may have to do some machining of the part before we send it on to our customer, or perhaps even take the metal apart, put it back in the furnace and start again. Perhaps there was a problem with the mould or the die cast. Whatever it is, this machine will help us check. It's best to find out what the issue is quickly, and that way, if the worst is the worst, we can recycle and reuse the metal.